Welcome in this week to Gaughan Racing. Jeff Motley, Brendan Gaughan. I'm glad to be back here in the South Point studio.
Do we start every show laughing?
We start laughing because we've got like our own little comedy team back there behind the glass
and it's not Frank Nicotero and punchlines at the South Point. It is Ann and punchlines.
No, it's not. So it's good to be back here at South Point. I was out last week. Unfortunately, my Hokies did not fare so well in Vanderbilt, where I went to the football game.
But you are not as bad as the Florida State guy that said that is removed all social, like he is.
Well, did you hear what the guy said he was going to do?
Yes, no, I know. And he has disappeared. He is gone. Like there is no Facebook, Instagram.
The people who know him, when he walks down the street, people are going to hum that Red Solo Cup.
Oh yeah, no.
If you don't know what we're talking about, Google Florida State fan Red Solo Cup.
Yeah,
that's all we're going to say about that. But yes, I would look. Let's put it this way: I would much rather be a Hokies fan than a Seminoles fan, or even a Gators fan. I think right now,
bad day
if
for them.
If you ain't Miami, it ain't a good time.
Good day for the Pac-12. I mean
whoever they are,
the whatever they're in.
Yeah, whoever they are. But it's not a football show.
No,
it's a racing show. And in fact, no one had a better day last week than Chase Briscoe. 2 weeks in a row.
One guy almost had a great day.
2 weeks in a row, we've had walk-offs. Harrison Burton and then Chase Briscoe. And the bridesmaid both weeks, Kyle Busch, second place in both of them.
Kyle Busch finally performing like we're used to Kyle Busch performing, but just too little too late. Jeff, you and I talked before air. There was that 4-race stretch for Kyle back early midsummer, that he lost 118 points to that cutoff line. If he doesn't have those 4 races, Kyle Busch makes the playoffs. He came back and put together what is Kyle Busch runs, but just too little, too late, and he came too close, too late. He got there the last lap at Darlington. If you didn't see Darlington, go watch the last 10 laps, the last 16, 18 laps.
Well, first off, the move Briscoe made to take the lead.
Take the lead. I got goosebumps now.
That was a big time. That's why Joe Gibbs has signed him to be their driver next year.
Chase Briscoe showed why he was picked by Joe Gibbs. Chase Briscoe showed why Tony Stewart picked him, a couple years ago. I mean, Chase Briscoe, and like I said, it doesn't play on serious, but I got goosebumps talking about the move that Chase made to get the lead. A guy that knew what he had to do and didn't just pass like, hey, he didn't pass Harrison Burton.
Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell.
He passed Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell to get the lead, then held off Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch with a strategy to just phenomenal, and great job by Chase Briscoe. Great job by Kyle Busch. Too little, too late for him.
First time that since we went to this playoff format that Kyle has missed the playoffs. Yep. In fact, it leaves Denny Hamlin as the only driver that's made the playoffs in every one of them. Kyle still has 10 races left to try to extend his streak of winning races to 19 seasons in a row.
But he's not in the playoffs doing it.
No, let's take a look at what Chase Briscoe did for our bettors. He was 100-1
shot.
We haven't had a lot of triple. Now,
who picked him in a group? Who said Chase Briscoe was fantastic here? Who was high on Chase Briscoe? Not to win. I'm not going to say that.
I know it's the Brendan Gaughan appreciation tour. We get it every week.
82 points.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, got to clear my throat.
But we don't get a lot of triple-digit odd winners because even Harrison Burton was only in the field last week.
That's right.
Unless you were another sports book where he was at 800 to 1. Yeah. Was it 800 to 1? 80 to 1. 80 to 1. Yeah, that's a big number. Okay. Also, 18 to 1 for a top 3. He won Group E at plus 265. And he brought Ford the long shot home at a plus 270. And, his championship odds are going to go down now. I think that Chase Briscoe.
He's still the long shot. He's
not the longest shot.
He's not the longest shot, but he's still. Now, look, if Chase can keep this streak going and run as well as if he ran that well. And remember who won Phoenix a couple years ago in the spring? Chase Briscoe, who is really good at Phoenix. If Chase can muscle his way to the final race somehow, he's a threat at Phoenix.
Well, and I think one thing it's interesting to look at going to this first round of the playoffs. I mean, you've got some guys who are really been one-shot wonders this year. Harrison Burton was a one-shot wonder. Daniel Suarez, one-shot wonder. Alex Bowman was a one-shot wonder, in the playoffs right now. So there are some guys that are in this playoff. Now, Briscoe, I guess you could say, is a one-shot wonder, but it's also something about peaking at the right time.
I would give Briscoe less of a one-shot wonder. He was on outside the cut line, but the guy that we were showing on the screen outside the cut line, not able to point his way in, but he was still there. He's had some good runs. He's won in the past. He's won, he's had a season with 2 wins before. I mean, Chase I would call him a one-shot wonder with winning the walk-off, but I think he can be a legit threat. If he can win in Atlanta, which is a super speedway race now, if he could win the road course, if he can do something at one of these races and point his way to the next round, he's a threat when you get down to the few ends. So championship odds, he is a dark horse because he's really good at Phoenix.
Well, let's take a look at our top 10. And Kyle Busch, we talked about finishing second. He was plus 400. And Christopher Bell got the top 3, plus 350. The guy that really dominated the race all day, Kyle Larson, ends up fourth. And by finishing fourth, he loses out on the regular season championship by one point. Now, we can say that, okay, if he doesn't go to Indianapolis, we know he wins the regular season title. But when you lose it by 1 point, does it make you want to sit there and think about the other 25 races and say, man, what? And even this race, this race for Kyle Larson to finish fourth, that was disappointing for him given the way he ran all day.
Listen, Kyle is probably one of the most pragmatic guys in our field. He looks and says, hey, I'm not blaming Charlotte, the Indianapolis-Charlotte double. I'm not doing 1 point is 1 point. But that's what there's been a lot of hate on NASCAR radio this week about the point system and the playoffs and the this and the that's. This is what I love is more points means more opportunity to gain points, which are stage points. Stage points give these things. Every single point matters. You look at the cutoff line. Bubba and Chris Bell missed the playoffs by points, by teens of points. We're not talking hundreds. So I love this format. I love the points deal. I love the way this works out. And Kyle Larson lost the regular season championship, which, okay, regular season. People go, 15 bonus points, Jeff. Gone.
That's big.
Out the door by 1 point.
Exactly. And the other thing is, I would say, if you're complaining about the points thing, well, guess what? Martin Truex Jr. and Ty Gibbs got into the playoffs without winning a race as well. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to complain about it, run better.
Yeah. No, that's what I love about it. And Kyle Busch says that. Kyle Busch goes, we didn't run good enough.
Right. Only one upset really in the top 10. Corey LaJoie got a 9th place. Good run for Corey LaJoie.
That was good. That was great to see Corey because he's been fodder, cannon fodder as of late. So good for Corey to have a good
run for him. So that resets our points completely right now, which actually, even with all the bonus points that Tyler Reddick gets for regular season champion, Kyle Larson is still our points leader because he's won so many races. He's 2,040. But guess what? When we reset them, those big leads kind of go away. He's 8 points ahead of Christopher Bell. He's 12 against Tyler Reddick. But then we look down at the bottom.
Yeah, but hold on. Let me talk about one thing on the top here. Tyler Reddick, we just said, was the regular season points champion. So he got those 15 bonus points. Tyler Reddick still is 12 points behind Kyle Larson.
Imagine the lead Kyle Larson would have.
Imagine what Kyle Larson would have had.
Season.
Yeah.
But it also goes back to show how important stage points and winning races are when we look at the bottom.
Yep.
Because the two guys at the bottom are Martin Truex Jr. and Ty Gibbs. It's not Harrison Burton or Daniel Suarez or Austin Cindric. It's those two guys because they don't have any wins.
They have 4.
So
they have 4 stage wins, which give them 4 bonus points from the 2000. That's all they have is 4.
So right now we have a tie for the last spot between Alex Bowman, Chase Briscoe, and Harrison Burton, with Suarez 1 point ahead of them, Cindric and Logano 2 points ahead of them, and Keselowski 3 points ahead of them. That's all the way up to 8th place.
Yep. So it's going to be this playoff format. It is a battle royale, Jeff. We watch it every time. It is absolutely a battle royale. It's going to be fun to watch this in this first round because this first round, man.
Well, and since we're talking about the top 16, you and I, we're not going to get into our full season predictions. We'll worry about those toward the end of the year. But we are going to talk about how we did. So I got 11 out of the 16 correct. You got 12 out of the 16 correct. We had 11 of the same drivers.
Kyle Busch, both of us, nobody thought Kyle Busch.
Well, we both had Kyle Busch in. We both had Chris Buescher in. We both had Ross Chastain in. Well, you got Daniel Suarez. I did not say Daniel Suarez. That was the difference in you getting.
I put McDowell. I had McDowell as my other guy.
I had Eric Jones in there. I was expecting a little bit more.
But all 4 of our championship contenders are alive. Some of our disappointments and some of our we're still live on a lot of our preseason predictions. We're still live.
We are.
We have hot tickets.
And we've got a couple of them on there where we're kind of giving ourselves a half point now. But
my Harrison Burton pick for the disappointing driver.
Well, and I have Alex Bowman. So to me, Harrison Burton and Alex Bowman pretty much had the same season.
That's a half point. That's a half point for both of us, I say.
They each made the playoffs and got a win, but Harrison Burton got fired and Alex Bowman's not far. I don't know. You hear a lot of rumors.
There's rumors.
I don't really know what's going on there, but we'll see. So, all right, but guess what, Brendan? As Jim Moore liked to say, it's playoffs. Playoffs.
It is playoff.
It
time.
is the playoffs, and we're going to kick them off this weekend at Atlanta. First round of the playoffs, Brendan. How about the diversity in this? Atlanta, then we go road course racing at Watkins Glen, and then we go to Bristol for the night race. And then the second round is going to be Kansas and Talladega before we finish even that at the Roval, which is going to be crazy. So first off, let's just talk about these first three, because we're going to knock 4 drivers out in these first 3.
The Atlanta, Jeff, I've said this since they've changed the Atlanta. We have said it on the show numerous times. I am so glad I'm retired every time I watch that new Atlanta race. Oh, my God. Might be the scariest thing I've ever seen in NASCAR. Absolutely phenomenal race. It puts me on the end of my seat. I am certainly glad I am not at Atlanta. And that being the opening round of the playoffs leaves you the opportunity for a Harrison Burton to sneak in again, for some of these guys that we think are the first round knockouts.
Well, I think a lot of people look at it and say right now, they say, well, Burton, Cindric, Suarez, and either Briscoe or Bowman will probably be the first 4 out. But like you said, Atlanta, for one, Atlanta levels the playing field. Yep. But then, Cindric and Briscoe and Suarez are all pretty good road course racers. Oh, and I believe Alex Bowman won on a street course earlier this year.
Daniel Suarez is, won on a road course.
So now look, Bristol, the cream's going to rise at Bristol. I think we know the cream's going to rise at Bristol. But to me, when you look at Atlanta, you look at Watkins Glen, it would not shock me to see one of those guys come through there.
No, this first round is absolutely the definition of brilliant scheduling. I mean, if you really talk about wanting to make excitement for the fans, excitement for the drivers, headaches for the drivers and teams, you did it. And the second round, you got a Talladega in there. You still have off type of races. Traditional fans are like, we don't like. I don't care. I think this is fantastic. Kudos to NASCAR, Ben Kennedy, all those decision makers.
No question. I think we know it's going to be exciting. I mean, the whole next 10 races is going to be incredible. The playoffs are going to be amazing.
First round is nasty.
Exactly. All right, we'll be back on Gaughan Racing, and we'll start talking about this weekend at Atlanta.
South Point offers all the types of entertainment you'd expect at a first-class Las Vegas resort. Did you know our 400-seat showroom is one of Las Vegas's top destinations for live entertainment? Enjoy live performances by classic Vegas entertainers, bands, and today's hottest comedians, plus a rockin' dance floor. You can also enjoy live entertainment at the Grandview Lounge, where you'll feel all the vibes of old Las Vegas. Enjoy the music, and if you love to laugh, don't miss The Dirty at 12:30, our very own free comedy show. Every Friday night at 12:30 a.m. in the Grandview Lounge. The Dirty is 100% free, so arrive early. Go to southpointcasino.com or call the box office at 77136 for today's performances at the showroom and the Grandview Lounge. When you're ready for your favorite cocktail, stop in and unwind at one of our 7 specialty lounges. There's a bar around every corner, because you're in Vegas, baby. South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Welcome back into Gaughan Racing. Jeff Motley, Brendan Gaughan here at the South Point Studios, and we are talking all things playoffs, which kick off this weekend at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We would like to say, we could say the new Atlanta Motor Speedway, but this is race 6 now on this configuration. So,
and Atlanta has had many news. Turn 1 used to be turn 3.
I remember when they flip-flopped the front and the back stretch. And so I don't know if
I'm showing my age. Yeah. I raced on the turn 1, turn 3 once.
I was a sports writer and covered the Hooters 500 in 1992, which was Petty's last race, Jeff Gordon's first race. And there were 4 guys mathematically with a chance for the championship.
That was the Kulwicki year, wasn't it?
It was a year Kulwicki won the title, but Davey Allison actually went into the race as the points leader and got caught up in a crash on the front straightaway that was not of his own doing at all. In fact, I believe
know something about that.
Well, yeah, that might have cost somebody else a championship one time, and I was there too. So I guess I'm there at the worst calamities. You don't want me at the championship race if you. Well, somebody had good fortune. It just wasn't
the one that everybody else.
Well, especially I was rooting for you that time. I came all the way down to celebrate at the banquet with you.
So did we.
Yeah. So just way to know, flew all the way to Miami and watched some. Was it Quapple?
Travis.
Yep. Quapple.
And speaking of Travis, his kid looks phenomenal. But anyway,
was he? Oh no! It was. I thought it was one of the Houstons that you tangled with.
Marty
Houston. That's who you got in the crash with, right? Yeah. Okay. All right.
Well,
we're not going to talk about that anymore. Okay. Atlanta. So look, the dominant guy here is Denny Hamlin. Well, there's a big surprise. I mean, Denny's got 4 wins and 24 starts, 13 top 5s, and 17 top 10s.
Can I put an asterisk?
The asterisk is we really should have our stats for the last 5 races.
That's right.
Because
which I happen to have.
I knew you would. You're the stat man.
My job. I got to have a job. I got a job. Now, the stats, you're right. I mean, you look at the history of Atlanta, there's some guys here that are phenomenal, Jeff. I mean, you look at, like you said, Denny Hamlin's history here. You look at even Martin Truex's history here. How about Brad Keselowski, 12 out of 21, top 10. There's some great numbers here. Kyle Busch, 14 out of 25. But we got to talk about the last 5 in particular. Those are the ones that matters.
And I know William Byron's got a win in there. We got Suarez had a win earlier this year in there. Chastain has run well since they reconfigured the track.
Yep. So you got a small subset of guys that have, once again, I think this is the most frightening track I've ever seen now. Watching them do what they do. But there are guys that really have taken to it. And when you get to the odds, Jeff, there's a reason why the guy that's the favorite at the South Point is the favorite. It's because he's got 4 top 10s in 5 races, no wins, 2 top 5s, led the most laps, best average finish of this format. You ready for his average finish in the last 5 races here? This is phenomenal to me. The style of racing this is 3.8 is his average finish.
Wow, that's stunning. So should we talk about that guy a little bit?
You should be talking about it.
All right, our odds to win this week at Atlanta, and that favorite that he's talking about is our reigning NASCAR Cup Series champion, Ryan Blaney. He's plus 800 to win this week. He's the only single-digit odds we have on the board. Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano are 10-1. Kyle Busch is 12-1. Denny Hamlin, Michael McDowell, Chris Buescher, Austin Cindric, all at 16-1. William Byron, Tyler Reddick, and Kyle Larson at 18. Chase Elliott, Bubba Wallace, Ty Gibbs, Christopher Bell, and Martin Truex Jr. all at 20-1. Big numbers on a lot of big-name drivers there, but kind of like you said, some of them haven't really performed that well in this new format at Atlanta.
But you look at some guys that have performed pretty well at this format in Atlanta. I mean, that's where you got to focus on. Who are the guys that have been good? You just named William Byron. He's been very good here. He's 18-1. Austin Cindric has 2 top 5s in his 10 races here. He's not even on this page yet. So, 16-1, first side. I was looking on the wrong side. There's some guys here that have run well, got big odds, but the problem is this has become your favorite word, Jeff, the crapshoot, right? I mean, this is tough.
And in some ways, and I thought Joey Logano made a really good point when he talked about this. In some ways, this is a bigger crapshoot than Daytona or Talladega.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you,
I agree.
I'll tell you what he said. He said at Daytona and Talladega, you know how long you've got to get around that track, how big the track is, and how long you've got to set up a move. He said, you don't realize how fast you make a lap at Atlanta. It's 1.5 miles, not 2.5 or 2.66 like Talladega. So you can't just say, I'm going to wait till the last lap and make a move because you may not have time.
It's a mile. There's 1 mile less to make that move. And forget about the seconds.
And when you're running 200 miles an hour,
the seconds are big, but it's a mile shorter. So you're a mile, you're 12 seconds, 13 seconds faster. You have that much less time to make these decisions. And
it's a much narrower race. Well, it's less than Talladega. Now, Daytona's a little bit of, like Atlanta.
Narrower is an understatement. Atlanta is, when you're doing what you're doing, it was narrow before when we were doing 200 miles an hour in the old configuration. This thing is narrow. It's narrow on steroids. I mean, this thing is absolutely, it freaks me out watching.
Right. You're not going to pass 10 cars on one lap in Atlanta. Like
you will when they're sliding on the inside. You hopefully get around them.
That's about the only way you're going to do it. So, all right, let's look at our longer shots. Ross Chastain, Alex Bowman, Daniel Suarez, all 30-1. Daniel Suarez, the winner of the race earlier this year, and one of the greatest finishes we've seen in NASCAR history.
It was pretty awesome.
Josh Berry, Chase Briscoe, both at 40-1. Todd Gilliland, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and Noah Gragson at 50. Justin Haley, Eric Jones, Corey LaJoie, Austin Dillon, Carson Hocevar, 60-1. And your favorite bet on these type racetracks, which I can't wait to see you take it again this week, the field bet is 20-1. So you want Harrison Burton in the field at 20-1, Brendan?
You got, once again, you got some names in the field that I don't know if I'm going to go on the limb twice and do the field. And the main reason is this is a playoff race. And there's a different vibe when the playoffs start, Jeff, right? I mean, even though anybody can win, even though a Corey LaJoie, who's a guy that's good on super speedways, who we've talked about a lot, he's even got 2 top 5s in 10 races here. So Corey
and almost won one.
And almost won, like almost won 2 of them, if you remember. Almost won 2 of them. So that's a great number, 60-1. The problem is I still think the cream rises when you come to the playoffs. There's a different vibe. Some of those guys don't push quite as hard against guys that are in. They give a little more give and take. So I struggle with the field today, but I'm not fully against the field.
You're not totally committed yet either, though. I can tell it.
You know me.
All right, let's take a look at our odds for top 3, and the numbers dropped dramatically here. Ryan Blaney, Kyle Busch, and Joey Logano are all plus 275. Brad Keselowski, 300. Chase Elliott and William Byron at 350. Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Daniel Suarez, Chris Buescher all at 400. Ross Chastain is 450. Austin Cindric and Tyler Reddick at 500. Christopher Bell, 550. Michael McDowell and Martin Truex Jr. at plus 600.
Yeah, I mean, let's go back to the same thing here is, once again, this is a playoff race. A lot of high numbers for top 3s because of the style of races, like a Daytona, Talladega. But you're still the same names I'm going to look at. You're giving me Kyle Larson at plus 400 in the top 3. Kyle Larson's still one of the hottest guys in the sport. You're giving me, I got to go all the way to the second side, mid-pack to get our points leader, our regular season, or not point, our regular season champion at plus 500 for a top 3. Hold on. Michael McDowell, with how well he does on the super speedways at plus 600, there is amazing numbers on top 3s here. Michael McDowell, 5 races, 2 top 10s, 1 top 5 with a lot of very good runs, caught up in a couple wrecks, but very good runs. So there's great numbers. The hard part is, what great number do you pick?
Well, and I think that's a fair point. And I think the other thing you kind of have to, you talked about how some guys aren't going to race guys as hard because they're in the playoffs. I'm going to give you 3 names that are going to race hard no matter who it is or where it is. And that's Ross Chastain, Kyle Busch because he wants to win, and Bubba Wallace. Those 3 guys, they're out there to win races. And I think Chris Buescher is going to be out there. Now, Chris Buescher ain't going to rough up Brad Keselowski or maybe not another Ford driver. Chris Buescher wants to win. And Chris Buescher had such a good year last year and to come so close this year to making the playoffs and so close to winning some races this year. I think those guys are going to be motivated. So I think just because they're not in the playoffs, I wouldn't discount those guys are having strong runs. And they've got some good numbers on them.
And neither would I. I mean, Kyle Busch, especially with looking at his last 5 races here, Kyle Busch has 5 races, 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s. Even though we notoriously say Kyle doesn't like the super speedways. And I think Kyle probably has the same feeling about Atlanta. I have not spoke to Kyle about Atlanta.
We've seen him race better on them lately. I mean, he almost won at Daytona the other day.
And he's almost won twice on super speedways this year. He is definitely different. He's been 5th and 3rd in the last 2 races, 10th, 5th, and 3rd in the last 3. So I think that Kyle, could be a threat, and he wants that win, and he wants to make a splash and say, "Don't forget about who I am. I'm, KFB."
Right. And it looks like the Childress team has gotten better. I mean, they look like they've improved. All right, let's look at our longer odds for top 3s. Bubba Wallace is at 700. Ty Gibbs, 800. Chase Briscoe, Alex Bowman at 10-1. Dillon and Gilliland at 11-1. Stenhouse, Eric Jones, 12-1. Josh Berry, Harrison Burton at 14. LaJoie is 15. Gragson is 16. Haley is 18. Ryan Preece at 20-1. John Hunter Nemechek and Daniel Hemrick at 28-1.
I look right there at Ty Gibbs. We've all been high on Ty Gibbs, right? Young, kind of has that. Remember, when you're young, you kind of feel invincible. I think Ty is still in the invincible stage. Got a 9th and a 10th here in his 3 starts, all on this format. and has run so well this season. I do like that Ty Gibbs plus 800 for a top 3. That to me is the most intriguing one on that second page.
Yeah, I think one guy sticks out a little bit to me because we know how he is on these type of racetracks. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., 12-1. Ricky's a lot of times it's records or checkers kind of thing. With these type of racetracks, but certainly at 12-1. Another one that kind of just I sit there and I say, man, it wouldn't shock me. Josh Berry at 14-1. Last week he made sort of a crazy bonsai move that probably he
shouldn't have made.
Wished he had it to do over again. But Josh Berry has he's had some really good runs this year.
He has. And Josh, it's a tale of multiple seasons for Josh. All the turmoil, all that stuff. Rodney Childers, which you and I both think so highly of. There's all sorts of things there. I'm with you talking about Josh Berry. I think he's just too scary to pick. I'd look more on the other side and go back to that Chase Briscoe and say, Chase Briscoe runs great at super speedways, runs great, has run well at a lot of places, just not here notoriously.
Well, and the one other name up there, because we talk about confidence and confidence at Atlanta, Corey LaJoie is 15-1. He's got confidence at Atlanta.
Yes, he does. A lot and run well.
No, he absolutely has. Okay, we come back on Gaughan Racing. We'll get into our driver head-to-heads, and we'll get into what is our favorite picks. That's the group matchups. Talking Atlanta. Be right back.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south-of-the-border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside. Or maybe you're in the mood for seafood. Big Sur Oyster Bar has fresh seafood prepared right before your eyes. Savor freshly shucked oysters, crab legs jambalaya, shrimp and lobster. Beers on tap and a selection of fine wines are perfect to pair with your seafood favorite. Whether lunch or dinner, you'll love this fun atmosphere, located just off the casino floor. Ready to shake things up? Step back in time and treat yourself to one of the oldest restaurant chains in the country. Steak and Shake, famous for original mouth-watering steak burgers and hand-dipped milkshakes in a variety of flavors. For some old-fashioned fun, try Steak and Shake.
Welcome back in Gaughan Racing again. It's the comedy. It's comedy hour.
Hey, didn't I learn in preschool 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000?
Yeah, but we get 3 2 1, 3 to 1,
3 2 1, go.
I feel like I'm at an auction.
The big brown. Sold.
I'm always amazed by how anybody knows what the hell is going on at an auction.
Yeah. So. Well, hey, and my ex brother-in-law is an auctioneer. He told me never go to an auction if you don't know the auctioneer.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, that's good to know. All right. And I don't know any auctioneers, so I'll stay out of auction.
I do.
I'm all about the silent auction where I can just literally go on my phone and bid for something.
And I can find what Jeff's trying to bid on and keep up bidding him.
And then can I ask you, all right, I know we're talking racing. I want to ask you a question. Because I used to have this argument with my former wife.
Okay.
She would say, I won something in the silent auction. And I would always say, you don't win in a silent auction. You pay for something you win in a raffle.
Yes, a raffle is a draw. You win
a silent auction. You have paid for it.
You've
in a silent
everybody.
auction. You've just outbid everybody.
Yeah.
You outpaid for it.
Yeah.
You didn't outwin for it.
And it's not always a bargain.
so do you agree that
Yes,
a silent
I agree.
auction is not a win? You had the winning bid, but you paid. For
it.
the item. I'm just okay.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
I just wanted to settle that argument. So, anyway,
Let's get to head-to-heads.
Okay,
Let's stay back on. Let's get focus.
Yes.
Us and I. We focus.
Let's get to head-to-heads. Now there are a couple plus lines that I kind of like out here. Denny Hamlin's a plus 105 against Joey Logano. I like that one. And I like Bubba Wallace 110 against Austin Cindric's minus 130.
You told me that. You told me that off air, and I'm digging. I'm doing a deep dive, and I don't know if I agree with the Bubba Wallace Austin Cindric. Austin has done very, very well here. Bubba, not bad. One top 5 in the 5 races. So I'm not totally against it.
I think Bubba's run better than his finishes have shown. And the other thing is, I just like the fact that you can get a plus 110 in a head-to-head at a track like Atlanta.
I don't disagree.
We don't
with some
get
of that.
a lot of those. Daytona, Talladega, Atlanta. We're lucky if we get a plus number on anybody, and we've got a few of them today.
I look at the Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano. Denny is plus 105. That to me is an intriguing one. Really, to me though, Kyle Busch and how he's run lately, how he ran at Daytona before the cutoff. Kyle Busch, you got him against Brad Keselowski at minus 120. I would not, or he's even money against 120 with Brad. I would not take Kyle even against Ryan Blaney. Blaney, statistically, head and shoulders above the field.
Hard to touch Blaney here.
Hard to touch Blaney. But I do like the Kyle Busch against Brad Keselowski. I mean, the stats say Brad also very good here. If I look down, Brad Keselowski, his name is always easy to find. It's not easy to find today.
So you're having to scroll a little farther than you wanted to.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, well, wait a second. This is making even more sense. So Kyle Busch, 11th best point getter in the last 5 races. Brad Keselowski, 28th best. He's got 1 top 5, 2 top 10s, but apparently Brad in them other races, not a real
on
big
the hook.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a 2nd and 6th, and he's got a bunch of very poor finishes here. So I kind of like the Kyle Busch statement, the Kyle Busch deal. I might take an even money bet.
Danny Hamlin's getting a plus 105 against Keselowski as well, so maybe those are worth looking at. All right, let's move on to our group matchups, and we'll start. And one thing we warn everybody right now: the groups matchups are very tightly.
It's a tough handicapping race. Tough handicapping race.
Very, very tough to handicap. But our Group A, we got actually 3 favorites: Blaney, Keselowski, and Logano. With Kyle Busch as the long shot. Blaney, Keselowski, and Logano are all plus 265. Kyle Busch is plus 275. And right off the bat, Brendan, is my I'm not touching this one.
But part of me looks at that and says the same thing. Blaney has statistically been that much better than everybody. And if you're giving me a 4-man horse race with Kyle Busch not in the playoffs, now I'll talk out of both sides of my mouth here, what I was just talking about Kyle Busch a second ago. Let me go to the other side. Kyle Busch not in the playoffs. Brad Keselowski, 28th best average in the last 5 races here. And Logano, who is down at the 11th, 12th, 8th. And you're giving me the guy that's got 4 top 10s in the last 5? I got to go with a Ryan Blaney here as kind of a favorite in the favorite group. And at least I'm getting 265.
You might have talked me into that.
You
might have talked me off my ex.
He's 275 for a top 3, which means he has to be top 3 against the whole field, or 265 to beat 4 people.
Beat 3 guys.
Yeah, or 3 guys. Yeah.
You might have talked me into that one. That's good logic. I like your logic. All right, we got
the exact 82 points in the lead.
We got the exact same odd numbers on Group B. Denny Hamlin, Michael McDowell, and Chris Buescher all at plus 265. Austin Cindric at plus 275. Now, I will tell you right off, I love Denny Hamlin right here.
Well, if you're telling me you're giving me a group on any other week that is Denny Hamlin normally versus Kyle Larson versus William Byron versus Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell, these favorites of the sport. You're telling me I got Denny Hamlin, and I'm not going to be rude and say who, but Denny Hamlin versus
2 guys not even in the playoffs, and 1 who snuck in on a hair of
Michael
his chinny
McDowell,
chin.
Chris Buescher, and Austin Cindric with Denny Hamlin. I'm not even going to look at stats. I'm not even going to go back through the history. I'm just going to say caliber to caliber. That's like when we have, a couple weeks ago, Kyle Larson was in like a Group C or D or something like that. And I went, oh my God, you just have to take Kyle Larson in Group D. You're telling me that Michael McDowell is a Group B driver all of a sudden? Chris Buescher, maybe. Austin Cindric and Michael McDowell some weeks are in Group F. They're in Group B. These are from the Westgate, and you're up against Denny Hamlin. Sorry, once again, your logic, sir, is not flawed. Live long and prosper. I mean,
I'm all in on Denny Hamlin.
I like that one.
I'll give you that. All right, let's take a look at Group C, where our co-favorites in Group C are William Byron and Chase Elliott at plus 265, and then Bubba Wallace and Ty Gibbs are plus 270.
This is a tough one because William Byron, 5 races, two wins by William Byron here, 2 wins. Chase Elliott, only 4 races, 1 win. So this to me is a very, very tough one to choose between the 2 teammates. I do like the 2 teammates. I do think that these are the 2 guys that would be my favorite. It's just difficult for me to choose any logic between those 2. Bubba and Ty have both said that Bubba and Ty both, I'm expecting big things from Ty, but not against Byron and Chase Elliott in this group, on this course, on this day. Very difficult for me to pick between between William and Chase.
I don't disagree with you on that. I think it is very tough between those 2. I like Byron, I think, just because he's got those 2 wins here, and it seems like at the Daytonas, the Talladegas, Atlantas, Byron always seems to rise at these particular racetracks. So I like William Byron there. Okay, now we're going to get to Group D. Now the odds are not going to blow anybody
away.
The
names in Group D.
But when I tell you the name, which if you've been listening, you realize there's been some names that have not come up yet in Groups A, B, and C. So our 3-headed monster favorite is our regular season champion, Tyler Reddick, our regular season runner-up by 1 point, Kyle Larson, and Christopher Bell, all at plus 265, and then we got Martin Truex Jr. at plus 275. So, now, I do believe this is a 3-man horse race.
3 of the hottest drivers in the sport, 3 of the hottest guys that we are talking about every week, every race, every lap.
This could be a Group A lot of weeks.
That's why I said Denny Hamlin in Group B against those 3, and you're telling me that Group D, I think what's happened is we've just mislabeled him. It's got to be a mislabel. Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson, all Group D, all 265.
Well, here's Larson in Group D, but I bet you're not jumping on the Kyle Larson bandwagon in Group D right here.
No, because you've got Tyler Reddick and Christopher Bell against him. But I agree with you. It is a 3-man horse race. I do not see Martin Truex Jr. being and look.
By the way, speaking of Truex, and again, he came out and said it was the worst racing move he'd ever made in his career. I could not believe the accident at Darlington last week. I mean, Truex to me is one of the most patient drivers on the entire circuit. I was absolutely flabbergasted that situation happened.
I think Martin stayed 1 year too long. Martin Truex is, if you look at his career, went from being DEI and, oh my God, he was going to be something, to, all right, he disappeared, went to Michael Waltrip Racing, kind of just faded, talking about never having a job. Ends up at some team in Denver, Colorado, and it turns into, oh my God, he was 35 years old, 40 years old.
I don't think he was 40, but he
was
in
35,
36.
When all of a sudden he became I'd argue to say very close to a Hall of Fame career because of his late career surge, where he became, remember the big 3. Martin Truex became, oh my God, Martin Truex is awesome. And now he's just like, ugh. So it bums me out because I love Martin, and I love when guys go out in their career, Jeff. I'm an old guy that retired. I love to see guys in their last year do something big. And I want Martin I root for Martin every week to do something big. He just hasn't. And he's up against Tyler, Chris, and Kyle. This group, 3-man horse race. But that 3-man horse race is my X. I cannot give you one single thing to say, go here versus here. Out.
Ultimate and too close to call.
Yes.
I'm with you there. All right, let's move along to Group E. And we got Ross Chastain and Alex Bowman as co-favorites here at plus 260. And then Josh Berry and Chase Briscoe at plus 275.
Yeah, you mentioned the Ross Chastain. This, to me, falls in the category of Ross Chastain and over-aggression. You know how we talk about there's some races that Ross is phenomenal, but then at the end of the day, Ross's aggression gets the best of him. I think that, to me, is what hurts me with the Ross Chastain pick here.
But he's run well. He's
run well. He's got 3,
and he hasn't had trouble here.
No, he's got 3 top 10s and 2 top 5s in the 5 races. He in the very first
race, he would have won the race, except he had a flat tire late in the race. And I was there. And
he's got second, 13th, 35th, 7th.
If he was 35th, it was probably because something bad happened. It could have been his own doing. Could have been somebody else's doing.
DVP, damaged vehicle policy. It was a crash that he was involved in. Not by his own making, not whatever. So to me, if Ross Chastain can rein in that 2022 energy, Ross Chastain to me in this group, heads and shoulders above these 3 drivers, if he can keep that aggression in check.
Well, I hate to say this, but I agree with you 100%. I think this is Ross Chastain's group
to lose.
This
is his group to lose. Chase Briscoe, I'm high on Chase Briscoe. Yeah. I love Chase's IQ is great.
All right, we'll be right back for our final segment.
South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style paradise swimming pool. A relaxing getaway where you can bask in the desert sun and enjoy seasonal food and bar service poolside. And if you really want to escape, come to Spa Costa del Sur. From couple suites to a co-ed wet area, our spa caters to business and leisure travelers who want to unwind and elevate their senses. A visit to one of our spa's steam, sauna, or whirlpool treatment rooms will leave any guest feeling like they can take on the world. Our gaming amenities include over 60 table games and over 2,600 of the most popular slot and video poker machines. We have penny slots, including the popular Buffalo games, and real machines like Wheel of Fortune, 777s, and Megabucks. If you prefer video poker, try Deuces Wild, Double Double Bonus, or a variety of multi-denomination games. Or try your hand at one of the most popular casino table games in the world, Blackjack. Don't let the game intimidate you. Blackjack, also known as 21, is both easy and fun. And our dealers are always happy to assist. And the best part? Blackjack always pays 3 to 2. Next, check out the roulette tables. Roulette is one of the easiest casino games to learn, and so much fun to play. It's a favorite of both beginners and seasoned players. In addition to blackjack and roulette, our casino pit features over 60 popular table games like Baccarat, Pai-Gow Poker, 3-Card Poker, Ultimate Texas Hold'em, and Mississippi Stud. So get out of your room and come join in the fun.
You make us laugh. I try not to make us laugh.
Exactly. Here we go.
I love
it. All right. We're back. Final segment of
By the
Gaughan
way,
Racing.
Chase Briscoe, great IQ.
Yep. I'm Jeff Motley. That's Brendan Gaughan, who didn't really know when the last segment was supposed to end. So apologies if Chase Briscoe thinks that Brendan is weird.
Chase,
he said he had a great IQ, and then
boop,
we're gone.
And
we're gone. So
those on Sirius XM are like, man, that was quick.
Right. But Chase, we think you have more than just a great IQ. We think you're a terrific race car driver. We still love the move you made to win at Darlington, and
Absolutely.
we're happy you're in the playoffs. And he's actually a good dude.
He's a great dude.
He's a really
and
good dude.
The story of that whole deal with the Kyle Busch 2020, the wife and the miscarriage, and then carrying twins and being last race and all that stuff. Also, you want to talk about the nicest guy in the sport? I don't know if you saw it. Michael McDowell, after the race, got out of his race car. Chase Briscoe's wife was struggling to get over the pit wall. I did. And Michael McDowell over there helping carry her over the pit wall. Super classy move, but that's McDowell. He's very classy. Let's go to Group F.
Okay. Wow. So much philanthropy going on in the garage. Okay, Group F. We actually have the only group of all 6 where we have a clear-cut favorite, and he happens to be the guy who won the race here earlier this spring, and that's Daniel Suarez at plus 250. Todd Gilliland is plus 265. Justin Haley plus 275. And Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is the dark horse here at plus 280.
For those watching and not listening, you see me frantically writing on my sheet of paper, Mr. Motley. Ooh.
I take it you like the favorite here?
I like the favorite a lot here. Look, second best point getter at this racetrack, 3 top 10s, 3 top 5s, 4 top 10s, a win, average finish 8.4 against, guys. Justin Haley is second with 2 top 10s and a 13.6. So, I really, really like this one. Justin Haley, deservedly so, should be probably second in my eyes here. But I think that this is a odds-on favorite, and I love I'm chalk today, man. I'm all across my bets. I am betting chalk because I like Daniel Suarez by a lot here.
Well, certainly like Suarez here. You know, the fact you get 280 on Stenhouse, who runs these kind of racetracks well, it's a good number for Stenhouse, but I don't disagree with you on Suarez. Don't really like Gilliland or Haley very much here.
I like Haley just because, when do we talk about Haley?
Yeah, but
the tracks that
he won at Daytona because 25 guys pitted in front of him.
But when we talk about Haley, when you stop talking about him, when we think that Justin Haley's been written off, and you go to a track that kind of has a wild card, and all of a sudden Justin Haley is running great. So Haley Haley would be my second above
Todd or
car's good.
Stenhouse. Justin's good.
Yes,
I'll give him that.
But Suarez to me is odds-on favorite.
All right, let's move along to our manufacturer props, and I think people are going to be a little surprised by the numbers here. Chevy is the favorite, no surprise, plus 125. Ford is second favorite, not really a big surprise, plus 130. But here's where the surprise comes in, is the number on Toyota. They're plus 300.
I mean, look.
You get a lot of drivers for plus 300, including our regular season champion and Denny Hamlin, who's got more wins than any active driver here.
Look, if I go down the best getters here in the last 5 races, right? The first Toyota is Martin Truex Jr. with 1 top 10. I got to go all the way down. Eric Jones is second. I got to keep going to Bubba 14th. I mean, Tyler Reddick is not anywhere near being talked about here. He's got 5 races, 1 top 5. The rest, very bad races. But Seabell, Tyler Reddick, Denny Hamlin, you're telling me that the top 4 in points or whatever, 5 in points aren't worth more than 300? I like that Toyota pick for the number.
I tell you, it's a great value on the number.
Enticement. We talk about enticement.
It's great enticement. It is a huge number. I don't know if I'm going to touch the manufacturer props this week.
I might.
All right, we don't talk a lot about the points, the odds to win the championship, but now we are, because now's an opportunity to jump in because we only have 16 drivers with a chance to win the championship. Kyle Larson, now with all the reset, he's the heavy favorite here at plus 300. Christopher Bell not too far behind him at 400. Denny Hamlin's at 450. Tyler Reddick is 500. William Byron, Chase Elliott at 600. Ryan Blaney is 700. Martin Truex Jr. is 15 to 1. Logano Keselowski 20 to 1. Ty Gibbs 30 to 1. Bowman is 50 to 1. Suarez at 60. Then Briscoe and Cindric at 200. And for some reason, there's a field bet of 30 to 1 that only has one driver in it.
These odds come from the South Point.
So you need to go talk to somebody and say, why is Harrison Burton 30 to 1?
I'm going to have to go and knock on Chris and Jimmy's door in the back after the show is over and smack them upside the head and go, really?
Yeah. Makes us look bad on TV and the radio here.
It makes you look bad in the sports world. You got one guy. His name's Harrison Burton. He is the field.
And he's 30 to 1, which is a bigger favorite than
Chase Briscoe, who I think
Ty
is
Gibbs.
Yeah, he's the same as Ty Gibbs.
Chase Briscoe 200 to 1.
I listen, we talk about value all season.
He could run road course as well. He could run super speed. Let's stop for a second.
No.
We got a super speedway and a road course in round 1.
And round 2.
And round 2. Now, round 3 might be a little bit dicey. And then we go to Phoenix for the final, a place that he's won. Chase Briscoe 201. If you're going to drop 10 nuggets.
All season long, we talk about value and a future bet and how to hedge your bets. We talked way early about the numbers on Blaney to start the season and the numbers on Kyle to start the season, how they weren't going to move a whole lot, but there's still value. And if I look at this right now, I scream, I think Ty Gibbs is still ripe to run well, and he is 30 to 1. I think that Joey Logano is still a champion, and he's 20 to 1. I think that Ryan Blaney is your reigning champion. He's plus 700. But you're telling me that Chase Briscoe, a dark horse who runs well at these wild card tracks, and you have them to get to the first 2 rounds, he is 200 to 1. I really like that. I even like an Alex Bowman at 50, even though he's so far the disappointing, he's still at Hendrick and can turn it on at any time. Yeah. You know what I mean? And Vegas is still in that round, and Vegas is an Alex Bowman stomping grounds.
He's won here.
So, there is opportunity here for value. Do a second hedge if you got a shot. There's numbers here, and I'm going back to argue and scream at Jimmy and Chris about the field.
Yeah, because I don't really need Harrison Burton at 30 to 1. That's not going to entice anybody. No. I don't believe.
Well, and it's what Harrison. It's not the field. It's one freaking driver.
Exactly. So there's only 16 guys that can win the championship. All right, let's talk about how we did last week. And I'm excited to talk about it because I had the best week of anyone last week.
You did.
I did. Christopher Bell, all because of Christopher Bell. I had Christopher Bell for a top 3, which nice late move on Kyle Larson to get into the top 3. And I also had Christopher Bell win in his group. So I was very happy with that, getting both of those wins last week. Got me a total of 5 units for the week. A couple of wins for you as well.
Yep.
You were all sold on Chase Briscoe. Good call on your part for Chase Briscoe. And Briscoe comes in winning his group in Group E. And then you had to head-to-head against Chase Elliott and Martin Truex Jr. You didn't have to wait very long to realize you won that one.
That was a quick W. I ran to the window to cash that ticket early.
Yeah, that one was pretty easy.
My Mendoza line's moving.
Yeah, you've decided to make it 100?
I think so.
You got to gain 17.95 units in these last 10 races.
I've been doing that almost a week, haven't I? I mean, that's... Oh, I got even the boys behind the glass laughing at that one.
You know who Mac Davis was? You remember a singer named Mac Davis? He sang a song for you. It was called "It's Hard to Be Humble." Have you ever heard the words to that song? If you haven't heard the words, I want you to go home tonight, or just call up your phone and go to YouTube and put Mac Davis.
We got some big news though. Jeff Motley is no longer in the basement.
Right. I don't have to do my picks first.
The pit crew.
They did get one win last week. Elliott over Keselowski by one position. But I will also give the pit crew credit.
It's a W.
They had Kyle Busch at 40-1.
The whole pit crew was I am sure pulling their hair out with 5 to go, going, come on. That would have put them in rarefied air to pick a winner.
A 40-1 winner. Okay, but because the pit crew is now last in our overall standings, we will give their picks first. They're going with 3 top 3s. Truex at plus 600, Reddick at plus 500, and Bell at plus 550. They like that Toyota plus 300 manufacturer pick. They're going with that one. And they like the Denny Hamlin over Brad Keselowski at plus 105. My picks, I am going to do something I don't do very often. I'm going to pick a winner.
Oh, at Atlanta. Of all places, you're going to Atlanta. You know what? This is called desperation, folks. Well, Let's hear it, Mr. Motley.
I'm going to take the guy who's won 2 of the 5 races on this configuration at 18-1 to win. So I've got William Byron 18-1. I'm going with the largest odds we've got in head-to-heads. I'm going to go with Bubba Wallace at plus 110 as his head-to-head against Austin Cindric. And then my other 3 are in the groups, and I cannot believe this, but I've let you talk me into a pick. So I'm going to go
82 units.
I'm going to go Ryan Blaney in Group A because you convinced me why.
The Moosh is going to give me. The Moosh is going to get me.
Denny Hamlin in Group B, no question there, and Ross Chastain in Group E.
All right, the Moosh is only going to get me on a couple. I might have to think about picking something else. I got about 30 seconds to make a pick. No, so here's what I'm doing. One, there's a couple weeks that I've done the top 3 things, multiple. I don't disagree with the pit crew. I just don't know if I like that Truex pick for them. But here's what I like. I'm going 1 head-to-head, and it's going to be easy math for you this week, Motley, if I win it. I am taking the even money bet, Kyle Busch over Brad Keselowski. I think that Kyle's Kyle. You give me even money versus Brad K at this track. I like it. Then I'm going 3 groups. I've got to take that Blaney Group A. I think that the odds-on point getter or best average finish guy here has got that. I got Denny Group B for reasons we already discussed. And then I am going all the way down to that Group F, my Daniel Suarez pick. Like last week, Chase Briscoe was my lock. I really either Denny or the Daniel are the lock this week, in my opinion. Those are 2 that let's co-locks for me. And then I'm going to go with that Toyota pick with the pit crew. I am going to go to the plus 300. I don't think that Toyota's really going to win this race. I really don't. I think that William Byron or Ryan Blaney in the Ford and Chevy are a better pick, but they've enticed me with the plus 300.
I think that's a fair pick. I mean, look, it's a good number. You're right.
With good drivers. So good numbers, good drivers, 3-man horse race. I'll take it.
Excited for the playoffs to start?
I am. I'm very excited for the playoff start. I think this is going to be an exciting round of the playoffs, and I think that we're in for a battle royale for the next couple rounds, man.
Will the beard car be there in Atlanta?
Nope, we don't do it anymore. We just do
Didn't
Daytona.
You run Atlanta? Didn't you?
Yeah,
run
but that was when we had a different driver that they wanted us to run more. So we're just doing the old school Daytona Talladegas.
Well, Atlanta's going to be fun this week because this race has become actually a must see on the schedule.
Yes.
Now. Again, it's just because it's a very fast track. They're
Scares
going to run
the poop
close
out of me.
together. And you've never actually raced on this configuration. Have you
never played on it?
Never done a test? Ever been on it? Or
nope, never going to.
Never going to? Never been there. Okay. All right, folks. That's a wrap for us this week on Gaughan Racing. We'll come back next week. We'll break down Atlanta and tell you about Watkins Glen for the second race in the playoffs.